Not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
What you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer my question.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
Senator Hawley, I think it's science-based by the way that men can't have babies, but that's going to be something. Senator Hawley, don't worry about it. Senator Hawley, that was Senator Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since you bring it up, why don't we just start there? Dr. Verma, I wasn't sure I understood your answer to Senator Moody a moment ago. Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics. Absolutely. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
Many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. Absolutely. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
no, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. You know, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert. And you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating
male with... No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
What you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer my question.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
Again, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask. I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men. We are here about the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged. And yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant. There's a difference between biological men and biological women. I don't know how we can take you seriously and your claims to be a person of science if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly. I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm also someone here who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients, and I don't think polarized language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is not polarizing to say that there is a scientific difference between men and women, and I want this to be clear and for the record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing, that is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as women. And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science, to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women. And I think it's extraordinary that you would sit here and advance a political agenda that has been thoroughly discredited and rejected by the American people in this forum. And I'm glad we had this exchange because it is exceptionally clarifying. It is also in many ways quite depressing. I see that my time has nearly expired. I just want to thank the other witnesses for being here. Thank you for protecting women and children. Thank you for your valiant efforts. Thank you for following the science. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this hearing.
Senator also Brooks.
All right, I just watched that clip from the Senate hearing, and I got to tell you, if that doesn't sum up where we are as a country right now, I don't know what does. Before we go any further, welcome to Voice of Truth. If you're tired of the spin, tired of the double talk, and you just want common sense backed by courage, you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts after you watch this. Let's get into it. So here we have Senator Josh Hawley asking what should be one of the most basic, straightforward, scientific questions imaginable. Can men get pregnant? Not a trick question, not a philosophical riddle, not a gotcha about tax policy, a simple biological question. And what happens? Dr. Nisha Verma, brought in as an expert witness, hesitates. She pauses. She deflects. She says she isn't sure where the conversation is going. She talks about identities. She talks about complexity. She talks about polarization. But she never gives a direct answer. Now, let's be clear about something. This wasn't asked in a vacuum. This came right after testimony about following the science and letting evidence guide policy. So Senator Hawley does exactly what any serious lawmaker should do. He tests that claim. If science guides us, then science should be able to answer a biological question. And here's the truth. Biologically, men do not get pregnant. Women get pregnant. That's not hate. That's not politics. That's not extremism. That's basic human biology taught in middle school classrooms for generations. What really struck me was how Dr. Verma suggested that yes or no questions like this are a political tool. Since when did clarity become political? Since when did biology become partisan? Hawley even pointed out that the Supreme Court of the United States had just heard arguments related to these issues. This isn't theoretical. This affects laws, medical regulations, women's sports, prisons, shelters, and constitutional protections. These are real consequences for real people. And here's where it matters even more. When we start blurring the line between biological men and biological women, we aren't just having an academic debate. We are potentially undermining legal protections specifically written for women. Protections rooted in biological reality. Protections grounded in the fact that women bear children, that women have different medical needs, that women face unique vulnerabilities. You can hear the frustration in Hawley's voice because it's the same frustration millions of Americans feel. We're told to trust the experts. We're told to follow the science. But when the science becomes inconvenient to a cultural narrative, suddenly it's too complex to answer directly. Then the discussion pivots to mifepristone, the abortion drug, and claims that adverse health events occur in 11% of cases, allegedly far higher than the labeling from the Food and Drug Administration. And whether you agree with those statistics or not, here's the bigger point. We should be able to debate the data openly. We should be able to question regulatory decisions. We should be able to ask for transparency without being labeled extremists. As a right-wing patriot, here's my position. Truth matters. Words matter. Biology matters. And protecting women matters. This isn't about being cruel to anyone. It's not about denying that people struggle with identity or deserve compassion. Every person has dignity. But compassion does not require us to deny objective reality. It does not require us to pretend that sex is a meaningless concept. It does not require us to rewrite science textbooks. If we can't say that women are the ones who get pregnant, then what else are we willing to pretend isn't real? At some point, society has to anchor itself to something solid. For me, that's truth. Measurable, observable biological truth. And what really concerns me is the erosion of public trust. When medical professionals can't or won't give clear answers to basic scientific questions, people lose faith. When lawmakers have to fight just to get a straight answer about human reproduction, something has gone very wrong in our institutions. You saw in that exchange, one side saying, let's establish biological reality. The other side saying, this is too complex, this is political, this is polarizing. But reality doesn't become polarizing just because it's uncomfortable. This is bigger than one hearing. It's bigger than one senator. It's about whether we still have the courage to say what is obviously true. It's about whether our laws will be grounded in biology or in ideology. It's about whether women's rights remain rooted in the fact that women are biologically distinct. And I'll say this, I'm grateful there are still leaders willing to ask the hard questions, even when they're mocked, even when they're accused of being divisive. Because sometimes the most necessary questions are the simplest ones. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this was a fair question? Do you think experts should give direct scientific answers in hearings like this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Keep it respectful, but speak your mind. If you believe in truth over trend, facts over feelings, and courage over cowardice, make sure you subscribe to Voice of Truth. Like this video so it gets out to more people. Share it with someone who needs to see it. We're going to keep watching, keep questioning, and keep standing for what's real. I'll see you in the next one.